So what is a range? Range is the movement between your high and the low. Okay, high and the low of the day. High and the low of the day. So when there is a range expansion, what does it indicate? It indicates that more and more people are participating. Okay, more and more people are participating, and that is why there is a range expansion. Like for example, if uh, water is flowing through a particular flowing through a particular stream, now that stream movement will be very slow. Okay, the stream movement will be very slow. But just imagine that you bring a water tanker. Okay, you bring a water tanker there, and then you open up the water tanker, and then you let more water in. Will the flow of the stream will be the same? Yeah. Yes, friends. Will the flow of the stream will be the same? What do you think? If I bring a water tanker and then I open up the water tanker, and then in the stream I open up that entire water tanker, right? So more water is being fed into that stream. So it is but natural that more water is coming in. So what is happening is there is a expansion of the flow. So in the same way, when there is expansion of participation, so the range will expand. And when the range expands, what are you likely to see? Yeah, when the range expands, what are you likely to see? What are you likely to see as part of our candlestick charts? Yeah. What are you likely to see? Big candles. Very good. Correct. You will be able to see more big candles. You will be able to see breakouts. Why? Because more and more people are participating, right? More and more people are participating, और उसकी वजह से आपको और भी ज्यादा दिखाई देंगे कि ओके लॉन्ग बॉडी है, people are participating, and in the direction of participation आपको वो कलर के कैंडल दिखाई देंगे. सपोज बैरिशनेस है तो रेड कलर बॉडी है तो मोर रेड बॉडी कैंडल्स विल बी सीन. If it is green, more green body candles will be seen. That's how you will be able to understand that there is more participation happening. Now, having said that, we have to understand how to get this concept and how to participate with this. Because when you're going to understand the range, like I mentioned, it is a difference between your high and the low. It could be for the immediate period. It could be for the forthcoming period. It could be anything, right? But you will see there is an expansion. So whenever there is a range expansion, you have to understand that the entire price action will happen in the direction of the range. Okay. Wherever the range expansion is happening, if the range expansion is happening on the positive side, the activity will happen on the positive direction. If it is happening on the negative side, it will happen on the short side. Now, when that happens, there is a creation of momentum. मोमेंटम क्या है? मोमेंटम से ही आपको पैसा बनेगा. Why? Because you don't want to take a stock and then wait, right? None of us like to take a stock, take a trade at 9:30 and then wait till 2:30 for booking your profits. We all want to take a trade and then enter a trade and book profit quickly, right? All of you agree with me? क्योंकि किसको वेट करना है? Nobody wants to wait, right? You don't want to take a trade and then hold on. So for that, range expansion is important. When range expansion comes in, it also attracts people, and when more and more participation happens, automatically there is a increase in momentum, right? Now, along with momentum, if volatility also kicks in, okay, if volatility also kicks in, that also helps you to get a sense of the market volatility, right? When there is volatility, when there is range expansion, automatically your market participation becomes simpler. What we want to do, we want to simplify our market participation, correct? Now, for that, there are certain tools, certain parameters which we are going to consider so that our market participation becomes simpler. So using the concept of range expansion, all right, I am going to share with you a very powerful strategy. Okay, using the concept of range expansion, I am going to share with you a very powerful strategy called as turbo. Turbo is a very powerful strategy using the concept of range expansion. So let me go through the strategy. Then I will show you how to deploy the strategy on the charts as well. Right. So now when you're going to go into the turbo strategy, we are again going to apply our philosophy. What is our philosophy? Yeah, I'll be continuously doing a check on you guys so that none of you forget this philosophy for the rest of your life. Very good. Fantastic. We are going to go into the ICE philosophy, right? We're going to go into the ICE philosophy. So what is the ICE philosophy in turbo? Okay, what is the ICE philosophy in turbo? We wait for the first 30 minutes. Okay, we wait for the first 30 minutes and then we check out how the range is happening. What kind of range expansion is happening and where is it testing? Is it testing the upper end of the range or the lower end of the range? Now, after it has tested the upper end of the range, lower end of the range, I will see if I am getting a long body candle, a decent size candle. See, long body candle always does not mean कि इतना बड़ा बड़ा candle आ जाए. अगर decent size candle भी आ जाए तो हमें consider करना चाहिए. All right. So everyone should not expect that there will be one big blasting candle. If there is a big blasting candle, it also increases the risk, right? So it should have a decent candle which will confirm. It should not be a doji. That's what I mean. Now, if there is an increasing volume, it is an additional filter. All right. So now all of this ensures that आपने वेट किया, उसके बाद ये मूवमेंट होने लगा और ये मूवमेंट होने के बाद आपको कंफर्मेशन आ गया. After the confirmation, then we will go for execution. We will trade beyond the long body candle and we will place a stop beyond the end of the range. We will see what I mean here. All right. Pay attention to these rules. Now, either the width of the range or 1% of the CMP will be your target. All right. So you got the identification process, you got the confirmation process, you have got the execution process. Now, turbo strategy. So when you're going to implement the turbo strategy, right, you wait for the first 30 minutes and then you decide, okay, now I take a look at the testing of the upper end of the range. The range expansion is testing the upper end of the range. Then I go and check out the candle and I take the entry. Then if volumes are increasing, even better. So my candidates will be where the volumes, where there's a breakout with volume. If there's a breakout with volumes, it indicates that more and more people are participating. अगर ज्यादा लोग पार्टिसिपेट करें तो उसका मतलब है कि ये प्राइस एक्शन ऊपर जाने के लिए और अच्छा है. The rules are the reverse for the downside. Okay. Now, once you take the trade, you place a stop loss below the range. You place a stop loss below the range. So this is the range. You place a stop loss below the range and then you go ahead and book profit of 1% of your CMP. Let's see some examples. Now you can see here that there's a movement, prices go up and then you take the trade, volume is increasing, enter the trade, place a stop loss below the range and then you book your profit. Again, prices go below the range. All right, prices go below the range and then you see volumes are increasing and then once you enter, place a stop loss above the range and then you book your profit. Again, you can see here, we wait for the first 30 minutes and then when the range is expanding, okay, when the range is expanding to the downside or to the upside, that is what we are going to track. Why? Because range expansion gives us clarity about what kind of trend is going to emerge. So now you can see here, after the first 30 minutes, you can see that there is a range expansion to the downside. Now, when there is a range expansion to the downside, it automatically gives me an idea that, okay, now this is what is going to happen and I should look to participate on the downside. Now, when that is done, automatically it is clear that the movement will go down and I can take the trade. You can see here, a very swift move takes place and you got the opportunity to go down. Sometimes you may get the entry quickly within the after the first 30 minutes. You can see here the strong movement goes up. Again, wait, and then you can see here that a long body candle, a long body candle indicates that the prices are showing a movement to the way up, right? Again, you wait for a long body candle. Okay, wait for a long body candle, wait for the confirmation, and then you take a trade, right? Now, when some stocks are positive right at the start of the day, you know exactly that there is some positivity in that stock. So now when the positivity is there in that stock or the negativity is there in that stock, then you want the continuation of the positivity or continuation of the negativity if it is a, a trade which is going to happen today. So now when you're going to take a trade, the movement should not occur after 1 p.m. I don't want to take a trade after 1 p.m. Otherwise, it will become very challenging for me to participate, right? You can see here that in this stock, for example, this stock, the prices are moving up. Again, you can see here that it moved up. As the trade should move up as soon as possible. Okay. What do you mean by as soon as possible? It should happen before 1 so that you get at least 1% of your CMP. Now, the earlier the better, right? The earlier the better. So you got to track. The range is defined based on the high and low of the first 30 minutes. So now let's go. I'll open up a chart. All right. I'll open up a chart. Correct. And I will show you how to draw the range. Okay. I'll open up a chart and I will show you how to draw the range. Let's do it step by step. Okay. Let's do it step by step so that all of you are clear. So I'm bringing on the chart here. Can all of you see my chart? I am using trading view. Okay. Whatever I am going to be showing you, I am going to be showing you on trading view. If you have to do it on any other software, right? If you want to do it on any other software, you got to ask their support team. The questions regarding all of this, I'll be addressing in the sessions which I am conducting. All right. NeoTrader team does not give support of for you to have. If you got any query on TradingView, you got to talk to TradingView support. But I will show you how to set it up on your TradingView chart. I'll be doing this repeatedly in every session. It's very, very simple. You will get it. Has everyone opened your TradingView software? Let me just show you how to do this. All right. So I go to my indicators. Okay. And then I type this opening range. Can you all see this? Opening range by Eric Solan. How many of you have got this? Type OR on the chat. Please type OR on the chat. Okay. I'm just waiting for a few more so that majority of you have got it. So I click on this OR now. All right. I click on this OR now. I put on a 5-minute chart and I put this opening range for the first 30 minutes. You can see here opening range for the first 30 minutes. So for example, if you see here in this, the movement happened at 2 p.m. So this is not a trade which I am interested in. There was a buy opportunity here, but I did not get a follow through. So if you see here, there was this candle high in Nifty, but then there was no follow through. Let me just show you an example. You can see here, this is the example. You can see here, after the 30 minutes, there is a movement. Trading View has this indicator. I have put it on Trading View. How many of you have plotted the opening range? Please type OR on the chat again. As you can see, Nitin, everyone has got it. Just have to go to opening range. Just type opening. You need to have a pro account. Like I said, professional software is necessary. Yeah. There are a lot of inbuilt templates. It will be helpful for you. So, sure. So you can see here that in this scenario, okay, in this scenario, what has happened is that the prices are broken down. You got this entry at 1020. Prices traded below this. So here, for example, if entry was at 1199, stop loss is 1218. Okay. So 1218 and 1199. So you have got a 20-point range. So 1% or 1.5% of the CMP is feasible. So now, for example, if you are talking about the market, right? You're talking about the market. So 1.5% of the CMP is feasible. So if you take this CMP, 1.5% comes to 18. So the range is 20 points. So it's okay. So my stop loss will be above the range. In case my entire range was 30 points, then I will keep middle of the range as a modified stop loss. Getting it? Middle of the range. So middle of, what is middle of the range? Let me highlight that. You can see here, this will be the middle of the range. So I'll just change this color a bit. All right. So that all of you can see. If the range is very wide, more than 1.5% of the CMP, then I will go for middle of the range. Right. So Eric Solan is the name of the creator of this opening range. Now let me show you some more examples here. You can see this example. It was in the range and this movement occurred just before 1. And you can see that there was a 1% CMP achievable. So now, why I say 1? So that you have got a chance of making 1% of your CMP. You can see here. You can see this. What happened in this? The range was very wide. Why I'm showing you this? Because if you see here, the range is extremely wide. When the range becomes very wide, it becomes very challenging. So what do? If the range is very wide, I tend to skip this kind of stock. Okay, I tend to skip this kind of stock. Come on, let me take up some examples from you guys and show you this before I move ahead. Is everyone clear on the implementation for the turbo strategy on your trading view? If there is any confusion on this particular usage, you can type it on this chat now. But if you have any question regarding the strategy, you please put it on the Google form so that I can address it. So what are we doing here? Let me go to an example which is clear for you. So what you are doing here? What you're doing here is you are defining the range for the first 30 minutes. Okay. So if you see here, this is the high of the first 30 minutes and this is the low of the first 30 minutes. So if you see here, the low and the high of the first 30 minutes is taken. After taking the high and the low of the first 30 minutes, you are having a set of stocks. Okay, you are having a set of stocks from on which you will do this. So how will you get a set of stock? You will go to NSE India. Okay, you'll go to NSE website. You'll go here. You'll have a set of stocks here. All right. Then you will see some stocks which are moving in the morning. For example, HDFC. So positive movement, HDFC. So you will put HDFC here. So you'll put HDFC here and then you will say what is the range. Okay. You will see what is the range. You will define the range for the first 30 minutes. So you will get the range here. So you can see here that after you define the range for the first 30 minutes, is everyone able to see my charts? We are talking about the range which is getting created for the day. We are talking about the range which is getting created for the day. We are not concerned about what is the range which happened yesterday. Now, in this, if you see here, okay, you are not having a clear confirmation out here. You want the candle to be more outside the range. Okay. And that is why instead of this candle, you will select this candle. Are you getting me? You will select the candle which has got a cross. Why? Because the first candle which is having a tick mark is not clearly above the range. The candle with a cross has come out above the range and it is a positive candle. So you will consider an entry above that and you will go towards your 1%. How many of you got this? Yes. So once you get that candle, that is your confirmation. So that is where your ICE philosophy will come. Now what will happen is many people, as soon as the range breaks, you will take a trade. Okay. Now what happens? You get stuck in a fake breakout. I am reducing the fake breakout. Why? First of all, I am tracking the range expansion. Then I'm waiting for the range to be exceeded. Range to be exceeded by a confirmation. Now, when the confirmation happens, I know that yes, there is a positivity. Then I take a trade. There is no guarantee for any strategy. But then when you follow these processes, you will automatically filter out many trades. Are you getting it? So all the rules, when you start, when you hear it first, it may seem a lot. But then when you start doing it on a regular basis, you will be able to do it very, very easily. Just like when you are very tired and you're driving yourself from your office to your home, you know the route, right? So it has become part of your process. So even though you're tired and you're really not that energetic, you still are able to navigate through the road and somehow reach home. Why is that? It is possible because your process of driving safely towards your home is part of your memory. So you will have to make all these rules as part of your process memory. Unless and until it becomes part of your process memory, you will feel, "Arey yaar, ye to bahut kaam hai, ye to bahut kaam hai." And then you will get stuck, right? You will get stuck. How many of you would have taken trade in the tick mark where I put a tick mark? Can you give me a yes? How many of you would have taken a trade where I put a tick mark? Yes, Moti is fair to admit. Very good. Ravi, Vinay, Praveen. My next question is even more interesting. How many of you would have exited from your trade after taking the trade? Right. So some of you would have exited, some of you would not have exited, but you will be in so much of doubt. So await confirmation because it will make your job easier. Await confirmation so that it will make your job easier. So let me take some more examples. Okay, let me take some more examples from here. Let's go and check out some more names. Let's check out the names which are appearing here. What's the scenario with L&T? Was there a trade? Profit छोड़ दीजिए, पहले देखिए कि was there a trade possible? Yes, there was a trade possible. You can see here confirmation. You would have waited for this. Okay, many of you are saying you would have waited for this candle and then not taken a trade. But then an important thing here is that the range was wide. Okay, the range was wide here. So there will be a mixed bag here. Some of the people who felt that L&T is positive, it has gone above everything. So you would have taken a trade. So you would have traded beyond the candle. So you would have got stuck in this trade for the entire day. So when the range becomes wide and it has already moved quite a bit from yesterday's close. So you'll have to keep all that factors in mind when you are going for a trade. Let's check out some more stocks. I invite some stock suggestions from you all also. Let's take a look at it. You can see here, this is SBI. You can see here, there was a movement here, 528, made a low of 526. And then subsequently by end of day, you got your 1%. Reliance. You can see here, you got the movement. So in Reliance, if you can observe, it is less than 1%. The range is less than 1%. And you got your, it moved swiftly lower. How many of you are getting clarity? You can see here Hindalco moved towards the later end of the day. So towards 12:30, you should be very careful when you are picking a stock because yes, it gave you a return, but then it is a very tricky scenario. So closer to 115, be very careful while selecting a trade. So I generally don't go for, yes, you will see movement in so many stocks, but we cannot take all of them, right? Okay, there is a request to take LTI. Okay, let's take a look at that. Yes, in LTI, you would have lost money because this trade moved. But if you take a look at the range is of 100 points, right? The range is of 100 points. And another thing you should remember, okay? Another thing you should remember, all right? Now, when you are going to take a look at some stock, if you are going to trade on the buy side, if the opening candle itself is negative, that means that there is a bearish pressure at higher levels, right? There is a bearish pressure at higher levels, so it is best avoided. Is everyone getting it? Right? If there is a bearish pressure right at the open, then why do we have to look at this stock? We might as well look at some other stock. That's what is the indication. You can see here Titan. These are long body candle, then one more candle. Then you can, if you took a trade here at 2641, you got your 1%. Now, when you're taking a look at the chart, okay, when you take a look at the chart, यहाँ पे अगर 1% या 0.8, 0.9 बन रहा है, उसके बाद अगर ऐसे कैंडल्स बन जाते हैं, what is this candle? Can you see here? Where my mouse is there currently? What is the pattern? Yes, shooting star. एक डोजी बन गया, शूटिंग स्टार बन गया, तो ऑटोमेटिकली आपको पता है कि आप अटल रहेंगे कि हाँ 1% तो लेना ही है, राइट? सम ऑफ यू आर वेरी while we have to take profit, we try and stick to the rules, but when we have to book loss, we don't stick to our rules. How many of you agree? Give me a thumbs up. How many of you agree? Give me a thumbs up. प्रॉफिट तो पूरा लेंगे, लॉस में हम वेट करेंगे, right? You have to be exactly reverse. Okay, you have to be exactly reverse, and you should be very, very aware. Context जो है ना, context is very important. What is the context? Context means your environment or the situation in which you are operating in. You have to be very careful about the situation in which you are operating in. If you have seen the video, I had done a video yesterday on CNBC. There was an interview, all right, where I was asked as to what is the overall market scenario. I said, yes, markets are difficult to interpret on the way down or on the way up. But then few days ago, we were testing supports, and I felt yesterday that we are going to test the resistance level. So when you're going to test the resistance level, you have to be very careful. And based on that, you have to ensure that you are playing the market appropriately. So what am I trying to convey here is that you have to be very aware about what is the kind of market scenario in which you're operating. And the market scenario in which you're operating in is a volatile environment. Now, in the volatile environment, you should not get carried away. And to ensure that you don't get carried away, these kind of rules will help you. Now, we are not used to trading with rules. We are only used to trading based on whatever tips, etc. we get on WhatsApp and Telegram. Correct? Now, authenticity of those kind of trades, the justification of those kind of trades are something which you are not familiar with. You are doing this workshop to make yourself more capable. So when you're going to become capable, please pay attention to what is the kind of scenario in which we are operating in. So never, if market is overall bullish, then stay on the bullish side. If the market is overall bearish, stay on the bearish side. If the market is mixed, so do ensure that you scale back your participation. That's what is important. Participate, but with lot of thought flow. That's what is critical. Okay. So I am sure that all of you have got some idea about these aspects now. We will now move ahead. Okay, we'll now move ahead. We will look into the other elements, and then we will once again go back to addressing these concepts. All right. So some more example, if you are looking to trade options, you can also trade options based on this. And how can you do that? You can go in with a in the money call. Okay, you can go in with the in the money call or in the money put. यहाँ पे once the breakdown emerges, so the lines which get defined, okay, the range extensions which get defined, the upper extension and the lower extension, those can be taken as a strike price. वो strike price वाला trade आप ले सकते हैं. Now in the case of this, you will either go and sell a 4300 call, or you will buy a 4300 put in this scenario. Now again, if prices are going to go up, here you will look to buy a 100 call or sell a 100 put. So those who are interested in stock options can use the same thing. And what is happening here? Range is expanding, soon momentum will come, और उसी की वजह से आपका ऑप्शन ट्रेड में आपको रिजल्ट मिलेगा. So you can see here that once your long body candle emerges, then you need not keep on waiting. Please understand, long body candle is a signal of strong participation. And that is why I am stressing on the long body candle concepts quite a bit. Because once you have that long body candle concept, it will make your job easier. And you can see here, Aram say, wherever you want, you can book your profit. However you want, you can trail your stop. How will you trail your stop? Let me come to that aspect. Now, you have got a range. So either you can keep on trailing your stop loss. For example, if the width of the range is 3 points, your target is 3 points. Now, what you can do is after the range has come, the target has come, you can either book your profit or you can bring your stop loss to cost. Then wait for the prices to travel further and then keep reducing your price. So what will happen is eventually आपने तो एंट्री पे ला दिया आपका स्टॉप लॉस, उसके बाद आप नीचे नीचे लेके आएंगे, you will be able to encash your whole move. How many of you got this? Trading stop loss is a very good aspect of your trading. It's very difficult. It is very difficult because all of us are so eager to book profit but not so eager to book loss. तो और एक बार आपको बताता हूं, अगर आपका ट्रेड हो गया, okay, forget about this trade, just concentrate on the trade. Your target you booked here, assuming that is scenario 1. Scenario 2, you are going to trail. Okay, scenario 2, you are going to trail. So what will you do? You are booked here, your entry was here. So your stop loss from above this, you will bring it to entry price. So just imagine that the price reacts again. It again comes up. So आपका short position reverse हो गया. So you can either abruptly end it or you will not get time. Okay, you will not get time to exit, and then it will come and hit you. It will challenge your stop. So if your position gets exited, you will exit at a zero cost. All right. But suppose the trend is very strong and it starts going down. So what will happen is your entry price. Okay. Your entry price was here. Then you will move it down. It will come here. It will come here. You will keep on bringing down. So now suppose this reaction. Okay. Suppose this reaction is there. You get exited. Okay. What will happen is you will be able to encash the whole move. You will be able to encash the whole move instead of just exiting much before. How many of you got this? Give me a thumbs up. I'm showing you how to take a trade and how to trail your stop loss. Trailing means continuously revising your stop loss till the trade shows a reversal. Here, if you see where I put an X, your stop loss got triggered and then it again came down. Not a problem. So what you're doing here is, instead of you exiting the trade, you're waiting for the market to remove you from the trade. Now in that scenario, you will have to trail your stop loss. Correct? So now when you are going to do options, you have to track the equity. You'll have to see how the underlying is performing. And based on the performance of the underlying, suppose you are doing, in this case, VDL option. So you have to see how the charts are performing and then take a call. Because the reaction will be based on the movement of the stock. All right. So I hope all of you have got some clarity now. And all of you have got some very good understanding of this concept. Because now what we are going to do is we are going to see how to use this concept better, and we will be engaging into a Q&A session as well, but that will come a little later. But for the moment, let's move ahead and try and interpret the concept of gaps, because gaps are a very, very critical component of our market. Why am I saying that? Because a lot of news flows emerge and these gaps cause a lot of disturbances to our analysis. Whatever we have analyzed, many of you plan for certain elements of the trade. You are planning certain stocks, but then market opens and then you find out that what you had really planned is not going to happen. Something else is going to happen. Now, how to deal with it? We have to ensure that we can get a good sense out of the whole gap up, gap down situation, which is part of our market. So, when you're going to talk about gaps, gaps are a very important aspect of price action. Okay, gaps are a very important aspects of price action. Now, when you're going to take a look at the gap, they appear mostly in the intraday charts. But then, if there are gaps on the daily charts, they assume more importance. Why? Because gaps on higher time frames are not that much. Okay, gaps on higher time frames are not that much, and mostly gaps occur as a overnight phenomenon. Overnight, some news flow emerges, some international cues emerges, or some if it is related to a stock, there are some corporate action which takes place, and all these triggers, they act as a stimulant to creation of a gap. So if a prices are going to open above where it closed yesterday, it is an upward gap. If a prices are going to open lower than where it closed yesterday, it is a downward gap, right? Now when the gap is created, it also is a signal of momentum. यानी गैप से ऊपर खुला तो it is a signal of upward momentum. Gap से नीचे खुला, that means it is a signal of downward momentum. Now when the gap is created, okay, when the gap is created, we need to see something called as a follow through. Okay, we need to see something called as a follow through, because gap के बाद अगर prices को चलना है तो it has to give a follow through. Now if a follow through has to emerge, there has to be a lot of things which should take place, and those are the things which we are going to see now. All right, so if you see here, there are different kinds of gaps which we need to understand so that we have got a clear idea. So the first kind of gap is called as a breakaway gap. Yani prices are undergoing some consolidation and suddenly there is a gap. What does this indicate? It indicates that the prices which were in a range bound condition, now suddenly they are demonstrating that there is a trend going to emerge. So now when there is a breakout gap or breakaway gap, it indicates that prices are very significantly trying to go up. So we should be looking at a upward possibility. Now, if upward possibility is there, we should also be seeing confirmation. And this confirmation is what we are going to study and see how to encash that confirmation. So breakaway gap happens when prices have undergone some consolidation, and then the first gap which occurs is called as a breakaway gap. Now, there is a scenario where a gap will occur and the gap will again occur multiple times. That means that there is such a strong momentum in that it is continuing to open up like this. Like you will see in a newly listed stock, right? There is so much momentum that it will open up with a gap. Again, it will open up with a gap. So this kind of scenario emerges when there is some kind of news triggers and there is so much demand in that stock. It is like many people are standing at the door. All right. Suppose there is some crazy sale which is happening, and so many people are standing at the door. So nobody is going to, just enter calmly, right? It's going to open up with a flood. So in the same way, market opens up with a flood and people are willing to buy it at any price, right? When people are willing to buy it at any price, that's when the gap occurs, right? When people are willing to buy it at any price, that's where the gap occurs to the upside. Now, when people are willing to sell it at any price, gap occurs to the downside. I hope all of you are now getting some idea about a gap up or a gap down and what triggers a gap up or a gap down. So you can see here now in the same scenario, if prices are coming down, okay, if prices are coming down, what does it indicate? It indicates that I do not want to hold on to the stock anymore. I am willing to sell it at a discount. And that is when you will have a gap down, right? Suppose you are going on OLX or you are going on any of the website to sell your second-hand stuff. Do you expect your actual price or a higher price? No, right? Why? Because you know that there are many people competing. And that is why you are willing to settle for a lower price. That's where you will see a gap down occurring. And if there are more negative news flows, then the gap down could be even more significant. All right. So now using the concept of gap, okay, using the concept of gap, what we are going to go and study now is a strategy called as the space strategy. Okay, we are going to talk about space strategy. We are going to see how to use the concept of space strategy and see how can we do this better and how can we interpret it better. Because when you're going to take understanding and when you're going to see how to define it, again, we have got our philosophy. Again, a check. What is our philosophy? Which we are going to use for every strategy. Very, very good. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to use I strategy, correct? So let's go and implement the I strategy. Identification. What is the identification? A gap up or gap down opening. All right. Today we are looking at some intraday play. We will get into some multi-day play tomorrow. All right. Now let's try and understand the intraday play. Identification, confirmation with a long body candle, which makes our job easier. And then we trade beyond the long body candle. Now, so how to deal with this? Okay. How to deal with this? You can place the stop loss. Okay. You can place the stop loss once you take the trade. There are, in the case of your risk, okay, in the case of your risk, you have got your gap up and gap down opening. All right. So you can have to place your stop loss beyond the low of the day if it is a buy trade, beyond the high of the day if it is a if it is a sell trade. Now it may so happen, okay, please pay attention. It may so happen that the gap is not very large. Okay, if the gap is not very large, you can alternatively place your stop loss even below the gap. Okay, you can place your stop loss even below the gap. Why am I saying that? Because I am giving you two options. Because based on the market volatility, okay, based on the market volatility, you got to decide. If the gap is very huge, like we saw yesterday, if the gap is very huge, then there is no point in keeping the stop loss below the gap because it will put your entire capital at risk. Now, if the gap is very small, so what do I mean by small? If it is 1% of your CMP or lesser, then it is preferable to place your stop loss below the gap. How many of you got this? Give me a thumbs up. I'll wait for this before I move ahead. First 5 minutes of the market open. First 5 minutes of the market open. Okay. First 5 minutes of the market open. The first 5 minutes always means the first 5 minutes. There is no confusion on that. First 5 minutes means 9:15 to 9:20. Okay. Now, how do we deal with this? All right. Let's check out this. So what do you see here? You see here a space down. Okay. You see here a space down. Now, in the space down, you're having the candle here. You're having the long body candle. Then you know that yes, the prices are moving down. So you enter a short trade and then you keep a stop loss above the space area. Why? Because it is not more than 1% of the CMP. And then you go in for the short trade. You have to give some room for the prices to move. Please understand, when you're trading, how many of you have got stuck because your stop loss was very tight? आपने स्टॉप लॉस एकदम टाइट रखा, स्टॉप लॉस ट्रिगर हो गया एंड वापस ट्रेड चलने लगा. बट द सैड पार्ट इज दैट यू आर नॉट पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रेड. सो स्टॉप लॉस सेटिंग is never a particular figure. What is essentially stop loss? Stop loss is the wrong point of your analysis. Please understand, stop loss is the wrong point of your analysis. So to ensure that your analysis is correct, do all the identification and confirmation properly, so that when you execute, your mind should not start doubting your trade. That is what happens with most of us. ट्रेड ले लिया, फिर कंटिन्यूस डाउट पे चल रहे कि ये ट्रेड सही है, गलत है, यहाँ पे कुछ करना है, यहाँ पे कुछ करना है. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू कॉन्स्टेंटली मूव योर स्टॉप लॉस? एक स्टॉप लॉस रख दिया, फिर थोड़ी देर के बाद उसको चेंज कर दिया, ₹1 से चेंज किया, ₹2 से चेंज किया, या कभी कभी उसको सीधा आधा कर दिया. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू डू दैट? Many of us do it. Why? Because we feel that I have to manage my trade. That is not trade management. That is not trade management. That is, to be honest, trade stupidity. Why? Because you are always concentrating on the stop loss. And if you're always going to concentrate on the stop loss, you will only get stop loss hit. क्योंकि कुछ भी काम करने के लिए कंसंट्रेशन चाहिए, और आप किस पे कंसंट्रेट कर रहे हैं? आप स्टॉप लॉस पे कंसंट्रेट कर रहे हैं, तो स्टॉप लॉस हिट होना ही है. इंस्टेड ऑफ दैट, rework the theory, rework the logic, concentrate on the process. If you concentrate on the process, automatically you will be able to see how to do the right thing from the start. So the chances of you getting a SL hit will be much, much lower. I hope I'm making sense to you, right? Now, let's see how to do this. Again, you can see here a gap up approach. You take a trade, you place a stop loss below the gap, enter the trade, and then you know that stop loss is not hit. So when you have your I and C properly, then you will never have a problem of execution. Please understand that. Please understand that, because that is very, very critical. क्योंकि आजकल बहुत लोग ट्रेड में, do you know the number of times you lose money in a trade by just entering and exiting is far more than your SL hit? How many of you agree with me? How many of you agree with me कि ये एंटर किया, अरे नहीं 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 ये ट्रेड गलत है, एग्जिट कर दिया, फिर उसके बाद नहीं 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 ये ट्रेड अच्छा था, ये ट्रेड करना था, वापस ले लिया. आपने इधर एंटर किया, इधर इधर एग्जिट किया, और बाद में इधर ट्रेड चलने लगा, आपने वापस इधर एंट्री किया. करेक्ट? तो हो रहा क्या है? यू आर नॉट क्लियर विथ व्हाट? विथ आइडेंटिफिकेशन एंड कंफर्मेशन. और उसकी वजह से आपका एग्जीक्यूशन पैची है. ओके, योर एग्जीक्यूशन इज पैची. व्हाट डज दैट मीन? That means that sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong, or rather many times you get it wrong. Why? Because you are not sure. So to reduce it, this is how you need to go. So now in this case, once you take a trade, what have I said? First 5 minutes, 5 minute wait करो, यहाँ पे एंट्री करो. First 5 minutes के बाद आपने एंट्री किया, आपका स्टॉप लॉस तो क्लियर है. जो ट्रेड में आपको स्टॉप लॉस कंफर्टेबल है, उस ट्रेड में आप स्टॉप लॉस रखिए. अगर क्लैरिटी नहीं है तो मत रखिए. दैट्स द होल आइडिया हियर. ओके, सो यू कैन सी हियर दैट दिस इज द गैप, प्लेस द ट्रेड हियर, देन यू एंटर द ट्रेड based on this candle. Once you enter the trade based on this candle, automatically you know that the movement will happen. So once you have entered the trade, you know that the stop loss is clear, and then as you start participating in the trade, it makes your entire schedule very, very easy, right? So you enter the trade, long body candle देख लिया, फिर एंट्री होने के बाद आपको पता है कि आपका स्टॉप लॉस क्लियर है, और फिर you can book profit along the way, or you can trail your stop loss. Now again you will see here there is a gap up scenario. Gap up यानी bullishness, फिर long body candle आ गया, so automatically your job becomes easy. All the time you are talking about making your job easier. You can see here there is this space. So this is a space up strategy. Okay, this is a space up strategy. You can see here the movement continues. You can decide आपको कहां पर exit करना है, right? Moves from 333 to 347. You don't have to hold on. You can decide where you want to exit. 1% of the CMP is the mandated exit. जो भी स्ट्रेटेजी आपको पढ़ाऊंगा उसमें आप आइस फिलोसफी लगाएंगे, आपका 1% CMP बनने की बहुत ज्यादा चांसेस है. So you can see here in this, below this gap, you will place the stop loss. Again, there is a space here, space down, that was space up. How many of you are getting an idea कि ये फिलॉसफी लगाने से आपका ट्रेडिंग पैटर्न में एक इंप्रूवमेंट आएगा? How many of you feel that? Again, a space up. I wait for the first 5 minutes. I wait. Why do I wait? I wait so that I don't have any eagerness to just jump in. That is the reason why I wait. Why? Because if I wait, I can see what the price wants to do. Many times we are interested to participate because we want. But then what we want is not what the market is telling us. Market का खुद का रूल है. Market is like ISIS. Market का खुद का नियम है. If you want to comply with it, most welcome. Comply, make money and leave. There is no shortage of money in the market. There is only shortage of money with you. There is shortage of two kinds of capital, which I always tell everyone. One is mental capital, other is financial capital.